Have you ever wondered what would happen if people simply stopped trusting the system? Not because of war, not because of an earthquake, not because the money disappeared overnight, but because for just 48 hours, everyone panicked. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and seeing one headline repeated everywhere. At first, it feels like just another scary headline, something dramatic. You keep scrolling, but then you notice something strange. Your friend messages you, "Maybe I should move my money, just in case." Then your cousin says the same thing. Then someone posts a video from outside a bank. There's a line, a long one, people waiting, nervous, whispering, refreshing their phones. And in that moment, something dangerous begins. Because the financial system is not built only on money. It is built on belief. Belief that your bank will open tomorrow. Belief that your card will still work. Belief that your salary will arrive. Belief that when you ask for your money will be there. And once enough people stop believing, even for just 2 days, the entire machine can begin to break. To understand why, you need to understand one uncomfortable truth. Banks do not keep everyone's money sitting safely in a giant vault. The money isn't all there. It's a system of credit. That's what most people imagine. That your savings are just sitting there, untouched, waiting for you. But that's not how modern banking works. Banks take deposits and put much of that money to work. They lend it out. They invest it. They move it through the financial system. That's how banks make money. Which means if everyone shows up at once and demands all their money back immediately, the bank usually cannot give it to them. Not because all the money is gone, but because the system was never designed for everyone to ask for it at the same time. And that is where fear becomes deadly, because panic is not logical. Panic spreads faster than facts. You do not wait for a detailed balance sheet. You do not study liquidity ratios. You do what every frightened human does. You run. And once enough people run, the fear creates the very disaster they were afraid of in the first place. This is what makes bank runs so terrifying. A bank can look stable on paper. It can have assets. It can have long-term value. It can look fine. But if thousands of people suddenly decide, "I want my money now," then the bank starts selling assets quickly to raise cash. But fast sales are ugly sales. Assets sold in panic are often sold for less than their worth. Losses appear. Investors get nervous. The stock drops. News spreads faster. And now the problem is no longer fear. Now the problem is real. That is how modern financial crises often begin. Not with a loud explosion, but with a crack in confidence. And once confidence breaks, everything connected to it starts shaking too. Because banks are not isolated buildings. They are part of a network. Your salary goes through banks. Businesses borrow through banks. Mortgages depend on banks. Credit cards depend on banks. Payroll depends on banks. Supply chains depend on financing. Investors depend on stability. So when banks freeze, the damage does not stay in the banking world. It spills everywhere. A business that planned to borrow money next week cannot borrow it. A company that needed short-term cash to pay workers starts delaying payments. A family trying to buy a home loses financing. A startup waiting for funds suddenly cannot access them. A restaurant owner cuts staff because sales are falling and credit is tightening. The ripple effects are immediate and painful. Businesses are forced to make tough choices. And the average person, who never cared about central banks or bond yields or financial plumbing, suddenly feels it in real life. Because panic at the top becomes pain at the bottom. And the worst part? It can happen incredibly fast. The modern economy moves at the speed of the internet. Fear used to travel through newspapers, phone calls, and rumors in the street. Now it travels through notifications. One viral post, one leaked report, one shaky video filmed outside a branch, one influencer saying, "Get your money out now!" One trending topic, one afternoon of chaos. That is sometimes all it takes to turn concern into contagion. And once contagion starts, even healthy institutions can get dragged into the storm. Because panic does not ask, who deserves this? It asks, who's next? That is why governments and central banks step in so aggressively when confidence starts collapsing. To many people, that can look unfair. A giant rescue package, emergency lending, guarantees, sudden promises that the system is sound. Why do they move so fast? Because they are not only trying to save one bank. They are trying to stop a psychological chain reaction. They know something most people only realize during a crisis. An economy can survive bad numbers. It struggles to survive mass fear. If the public believes everything is collapsing, they start acting like it is collapsing. They spend less, invest less, hire less, lend less, build less, trust less. And when millions of people all become defensive at the same time, growth disappears. Because in the beginning of a panic, the system is not fighting mathematics first. It is fighting human behavior. And human behavior is brutal under uncertainty. When people feel safe, they leave their money where it is. When they feel uncertain, they hesitate. When they feel fear, they pull back. And when they feel everyone else is already running, they stampede. This is why financial crises often feel surreal. Liquidity, solvency, duration risk, contagion, exposure. Complicated words, analyst language. But underneath all of it is something much more primitive. Fear that your savings are not safe. Fear that tomorrow will be worse. Fear that if you wait, you will be the last one left inside when the doors close. And when that feeling becomes widespread, the economy starts acting less like a machine and more like a crowd fleeing a fire. So could 48 hours of panic really crash the entire economy? Not always, not instantly, and not without resistance. But 48 hours can absolutely trigger the chain reaction.
They can crack trust. They can force emergency decisions. They can freeze lending. They can wipe billions off markets. They can destroy weak institutions.
Because what holds the modern economy together is not steel, paper, or code. It is confidence. And confidence is strange. It takes years to build, seconds to lose. And when it disappears, people suddenly discover how little of the system they truly understood, and how much of their daily life depended on it quietly working in the background. So the next time someone says the economy is built on numbers, charts, and policies, those things matter. But underneath them all, the real foundation is psychological. A shared agreement, a collective illusion of stability, a fragile confidence that tomorrow will look enough like today. And if that confidence breaks for just long enough, ATMs become symbols of fear. Banks become targets of doubt. Markets become amplifiers of panic, and the entire economy begins to tremble. Not because money vanished, but because trust did. And once trust starts collapsing, 48 hours can feel like more than enough. The financial system doesn't die when money runs out. It dies when belief does.